It's okay now.
Now it's
It's
okay.
better. Yeah,
Okay,
it's better.
great, great, great. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm also doing great. Thanks for asking. Okay, today we will go through the types of questions that we get in reading. Okay, any
Hmm.
questions that you have before we start with that? Any questions that you have with the things that we discussed in the last class?
No.
Okay, you're clear with it.
Yeah.
Okay, did you get time to go through chapter 2, chapter 1?
I haven't really because I'm working also.
Mm-hmm.
So I will check it
Do
this weekend.
Okay, do go through it. So for you, is Saturdays, Sundays working, or do you have a holiday on Saturdays?
Uh, my only holiday is Sunday.
Only Sunday. That's bad.
Yeah.
But
On
it's
Saturday
uh-huh.
I have to go university. Like I have course on
Mhm.
two
Mhm.
on Saturdays.
Okay.
That's
Okay. That's bad, I would say.
yeah.
But it's the same for me also. I only have holidays on Sundays.
Oh,
Mhm. Okay. Tell me once my screen is visible.
it's visible.
It's visible. Great. Now, as I said, we will go through question types in reading. Okay, now we already know that we get two passages when we talk about reading. Correct? We get two passages and we get 10 questions with each passage. So, overall, we get 20 questions and it is for 22 points. You remember that, right?
Hmm.
Great. Now, there are various question types. Now, why question types become important for us? When we understand the question types, we know what to expect in the test, right? When we are attempting the questions, we know where to find the information for those particular questions. What are they exactly looking for? That is why the types of questions become important for us. So, overall, in reading, we have 9 types of questions. Okay.
Hmm.
First one is factual information question. Then next is negative factual information question. Then we have vocabulary questions, reference questions, and sentence simplification questions. Then inference, rhetorical, and insert text questions. And last one is prose summary question. Okay, now this insert text question and prose summary questions, you always get them. Okay, and you always have them at the end of the all the questions. So prose summary question will always be number 10 question and insert text question will always be number 9 question that you have in reading. Okay, now they have already given the frequency also of the questions over here. Factual information question, you might get 2 questions to 5 questions in one set. Okay, one reading passage. The negative factual information question, you might get 0 also, like there might be none, and you might have 2 sometimes. Vocabulary question, you will always get it, they will either be 1 or 2. They are easy and you should make sure that you do not lose marks in vocabulary questions because they are the scoring ones. Okay, then you have reference questions, there might be none or there might be one. Again, sentence simplification question, there might be none or there might be one. Then inference question, one or two in one set. Rhetorical purpose also, there might be one or two. Okay. And as I said, insert text question will always be there. Prose summary question will always be there. Now, if you remember, I had already told you that when we read the passage, we have, say, 6 to 7 paragraphs in it, right? Now, whenever you are asked question, they would be asked according to the paragraph. Okay, so you don't need to read the whole text when you are attempting the question. But of course, once you start with the passage, once you start with the reading section, it is suggested that you read it thoroughly. Okay, but read it quickly. Don't spend lot of time on that also. Don't read everything word by word. Try to just scan through it. Now, what is the difference between scanning and skimming? We will also learn that once we start with our lessons that we have. Okay, but for now just understand that it's suggested that you read the whole passage first, so you know what it is about, you understand the main idea, and you understand which paragraph has which detail. Okay, but do not spend a lot of time in that, because some questions are also lengthy and they take lot of time in solving. So though we have almost 35 minutes, but sometimes they also are less if we spend say 5 to 6 minutes in just reading the passage. So that is why we should make sure when we practice also, that is how you should practice. Okay, you should hardly spend 2 3 minutes in reading the passage, and when you attempt the question, that time you read the paragraphs properly. Some paragraphs you will need to make sure that you have selected the correct answer. So even after selecting the answer, you might just want to scan through the paragraph again to make sure that is the correct answer, not to lose any point over there. Okay, some questions, the way I said vocabulary question, it would hardly take you 15 seconds to 20 seconds, because they usually highlight the text in the paragraph. So it becomes easier for you. Okay, now how we will understand that. Now first one, we have type 1 question, that is factual information question. Now what do we mean by factual information? It's a fact. It will be explicitly stated in the paragraph. Okay, so you just need to read the paragraph, you need to make sure that you find that information and you select that information over there. Okay, again, do not use your personal assumption, do not use your personal knowledge. Whatever is mentioned in the paragraph, based on that only you will select. Okay, they will not ask anything that is outside of the paragraph or outside of the passage at least. Okay, that is why you need to make sure that you have selected it correctly. Now the question would look something like this. According to the paragraph 10 or according to paragraph 1, which of the following is true about biology? According to the paragraph, which of the following is the main reason this happened? Okay, according to the paragraph, why mainly, uh, why declined mainly because, and they would give you four options, you have to select one. Okay, again in paragraph 1, which of the following is identified as an advantage of having why? These are the types of questions that you would get. Okay, now as I said, you will need to refer to the passage in order to determine what exactly is said about the subject of the question. Since the question may be about a detail, you might not recall the detail in the first reading. So you don't need to by heart it. You don't need to remember anything after reading the passage. Okay, you look back at the paragraph again and then you try to answer. You don't need to memorize it. You don't need to remember any information over there. Okay, realize that some or all of the answer choices may paraphrase the information. So just because we are saying over here that okay, it would be explicitly mentioned over there, but sometimes the questions could be paraphrased. Another word could be used in the question, another word could be used in the options. Okay, so don't get confused with that. Don't go for the exact word, go for the keywords. Now if I say we are talking about sculptures in this coming paragraph, of course the word for sculptures will be sculptures. It won't change, correct? So that becomes your keyword. The properties of mass, weight, distribution and stress, these kind of words might not change, correct? But the words like other ones like requires, understanding, these kind of words might change. They might use synonyms over there. So that is where we have to be mindful, I would say. Okay, do not select an answer just because it is mentioned in the passage. Make sure you are answering based on the specific question that is asked. This is a common mistake that students make. Okay, they just select the option because it is mentioned in the paragraph. No, you have to make sure that you cater to the question that is being asked. Okay, now we have one passage over here, paragraph over here. Read it and try attempting the question which is given. You can read it on your own.
It's B, I think.
B. Okay, let's
Yes.
look at the option. Correct. Okay, choice B is correct. Why? They have given the explanation over here because it identifies the reason the passage gives for the change. That is, sculptors developed a way to strengthen the statue from the inside, making the cannonballs physically unnecessary. Correct? So you understood this question, right? Great. So again, the way you selected just now, you have to select based on what is mentioned over there. Okay, nothing from your knowledge. Very good. Next we have negative factual information question. Okay, now negative factual information question is just opposite of factual information question. Now in factual information we selected based on what is mentioned in the paragraph. Now in negative factual they are asking you what is not mentioned in the paragraph. Okay, so they will in this mostly use the words like not and except. So you have to make sure when you read the question, you do not miss out on these words. If you miss out on these words, you will select incorrect option. Okay, so that is the main thing. So it will be explicitly not mentioned. So out of the all four options, three options which are given will be there mentioned in the paragraph. Okay, and one option will not be mentioned. That is something that we need to take care of. Now, usually a negative factual information question, of course, it requires you to check the passage just like you did for factual information question. Okay, but again, you need to make sure that everything is mentioned and only that option is not mentioned. Now, in this, the correct answer either contradicts the information in the passage, that means it will be totally opposite of whatever is mentioned in the passage, or expresses information that is not presented. So the option that you will select, it will either be directly opposite of what is mentioned in the paragraph or it will not be mentioned in the paragraph at all. Okay, it is always best to recheck your answer to make sure you have understood the task that you're supposed to do for that particular question. Okay, now try doing this one. It shouldn't take you a lot of time. I will just be back in 1 minute. Okay, till the time you solve this. Just give me 1 minute. Are you done? Have you got the answer?
I think it's C.
C.
Yes.
Okay. The correct answer choice is D. Okay, choice D is not mentioned anywhere in the paragraph because you are asked to identify the choice that is not mentioned in the passage or that contradicts the passage. The correct answer is choice D over here. Okay, American art was very popular with European audiences. This is not mentioned anywhere. If you will see over here, public's attitude that European art was better than American art both discouraged and infuriated American artists. That's what is mentioned. Correct? So it is kind of contradictory to what is being mentioned over here. That is the reason that becomes your correct option. Understood?
Yeah, I got it.
Great. Next, we have vocabulary question. Now, in vocabulary question, you will be asked a particular word, a phrase, or a term that has been used in the paragraph. Okay. Now, over here again, they would be asking you the meaning of that word based on the context that which it is being used. Okay, now you might know in English we have many words, and along with that the words might have many meanings attached to it. Correct? So we need to understand that the word over here would be asked based on the way it is being used in this paragraph. Okay, they wouldn't ask you the general meaning of it. What is the closest meaning of this word in the context that it is being used? That is what you have to try to understand over here. Okay, but the plus point I would say over here is they're not asking you very high level of vocabulary. The vocabulary words are quite easy, at least that's what I feel. Even if you are at a basic level of English, you should be able to grasp this question easily. Okay, that's something that we need to understand over here. Now remember that the question is not just asking the meaning of the word, but the way I said, as it is used in the passage. Okay, so sometimes some options could be confusing. So go with the option that you select, the way it is being used in the sentence. So you might have to just read the sentence once which in which it is being used. Mostly the words are highlighted, so you know where to find the word and which sentence you have to read. Okay, now when you select the option, the best way to do would be you can also try replacing the option that you are selecting when you read the sentence. Okay, so to make sure that you have selected the correct option, that is how you can make sure. Okay, now here example, the word locomotion is being used. Try doing it. One second. Try solving it. Now, even if you don't know the meaning of locomotion, you might know the meaning of motion, correct?
Hmm.
So that should help you to select the option.
I think it's B.
B, that's correct. Very good. Okay,
Okay.
because we're talking about motion, that is locomotion, it means the ability to move from one place to another. Okay, hence the option B becomes correct because all the other options are, they don't talk about movement. So it was an easy guess over here. But sometimes you get difficult options also. Okay, so be mindful over there. Now try solving this one.
Is it A?
A, lose the ability to move. Okay, that's correct. Because most of us might know what is paralysis, right? To suffer paralysis, that means to go through the disease of paralysis, I would say. It's not actually a disease, it's kind of a thing that you have if you, it's like paralysis attack or paralysis arrest, we usually call it. Okay, when we talk about paralysis, so you suffer from that illness basically, correct? So that's the reason suffer paralysis is the correct word to become, to lose ability to move. Okay, because that is the meaning of the word paralysis, it is the inability to move. Okay, so it was an easy guess again. Now we come to question type 4, reference questions. Now, in reference questions, we have to understand the relationship between the words in the passage. The relationship is between a word or a phrase and its antecedent. Now, what do we mean by antecedent? We need to understand that. Now, you might know that when we talk about grammar, we have some grammar words like nouns, pronouns, correct? Now, nouns are usually the names of people, places, and things. For example, if I say a student, that is a noun. If I say mirth, even that is a noun. Okay. If I say the name of the test, even that is a noun. Now, when we use the words to replace these nouns like he, she, it, these become your pronouns. Okay. Now, in reference questions, they might use the meaning of that pronoun that is being used over there. Okay. Now pronouns, as I said, they are words which are used to replace the noun. So we can't use nouns again and again. So we use the pronouns to replace it. Now what happens is whenever there are big sentences, we get confused when there are a lot of things mentioned. We get confused on what this pronoun is exactly being used for. Correct? That is when we have to make sure that we select over here correctly, because they are asking you the pronoun, that the meaning of the pronoun that it is being used for. Okay, the subject which it is referring back to basically. So that is what we mean by antecedent. Antecedent is the subject that the pronoun refers to. Okay, so we might need to, this is where you might need to spend a little bit of time, I would say. Okay, more than 10-15 seconds sometimes, because you need to be 100% sure that you have selected the correct option. The word in the word say X, which is being used in the passage, refers to, that is how your question would look like. Again, you would be given 4 answer choices. They will be either words or phrases, but may also be ideas that are not stated in the exact words in the passage. They might be paraphrased and asked. So that's where we have to be sure about it. Now, if the reference question is about a pronoun, make sure your answer agrees in number. Now, what do we mean by agrees in number? We have to make sure that if the pronoun which is being used is singular, even our answer is singular. If the pronoun which is being used is plural, then the answer is also plural. Okay, singular we know when we talk about one thing. Plural is when we talk about many things. For example, I can say a ball and balls. Correct? Whenever there are two or more than two balls. That's where we have to make sure that we select the correct option. Again, try substituting your choice for the highlighted word in the sentence and make sure that it makes sense and it does not sound grammatically incorrect. Okay, that is what you need to make sure about over here. So now again you have a passage over here. Read it and try answering the question.
Is it A?
A. Distribution.
Yes.
Are you sure? Now, see, this is where we get confused. Okay, the last sentence, of course, we have the answer over there. The distribution, if not the sale of newspapers, was assisted by the establishment of a postal service in 1710. Okay, which had a network of 65 offices by 770, serving all 13 colonies. Okay, now over here, of course, in the same sentence, the word distribution, the word sale, the word newspaper, and the word postal service is being also used. So that is where we get confused. Correct? But you have to understand what exactly it is talking about. The distribution will not have offices because the distribution is a process. Okay, we are not talking about distribution because distribution is not, it won't have offices, 65 offices. Correct? Again, the newspaper will not have offices. The newspaper agencies have offices. Sale is your verb again. Okay, it's an action basically that you're doing. So what option is left? Postal services. Postal services can have offices, right? Post office is what we call. So hence that becomes our correct option, that is the option D. Okay, which had a network of 65 offices. That is why the option D becomes correct. Understood how it is confusing?
Yeah, I got it now.
Great. Now try solving this one.
I can't see the last answer.
Okay. Now
D. Okay. Is it A?
A. Okay, let's look at the option. The correct answer is C. Okay, because it prevents soil erosion. That is the reason. Now, let's try reading it. The first is by occupying a large volume of shallow soil around the plant space with a fibrous root system, one consisting of many thin, profusely branched roots. Since these kind of roots grow relatively close to the soil, they effectively control soil erosion. So this is where we find the answer. Okay, grass roots are especially well suited to this purpose. That's the reason. Okay, so it's a little confusing. That's what you will need practice, I would say, when you solve the reading passages. But it's totally fine to try to read the paragraph again once you have selected the option. That's what would make sure that you have selected the correct option. Okay. Now, sentence simplification question. Sentence simplification question. Here, you would be asked to choose a sentence that has the same meaning, again, essential meaning, as a sentence that occurs in the passage. Okay, which is being used in the passage basically. The correct answer choice is a simplified version of the tested sentence, but it retains the key information presented in the tested sentence. Okay, accurately expresses the main point of the tested sentence. That is also very important. In this type of the question type, basically it measures whether test takers can distinguish between essential information and non-essential information. So that's why we have to make sure when we select the option it does not change any meaning and it covers everything that has been mentioned in the passage. Okay, when we try to replace, so your question would look something like this, and that this is how your question will always look like. Which of the following best expresses the essential information in the highlighted sentence in the passage? Incorrect answer choices change the meaning in important ways or leave out essential information. Okay, that is how the question will always look like whenever it comes, if it comes, because it might never come also, or there might be just one like this. Okay, now you have to understand that how both ways a choice can be incorrect. Either it misrepresents the information and or otherwise distorts the meaning of the highlighted sentence. It will either misrepresent the information or totally change the meaning of what is being said in the highlighted sentence, or it leaves out something important that is there in the highlighted sentence. So again, over here you will get one sentence which will be highlighted, for which you will be asked to replace. Okay, that is how even it will be in the exam. Now make sure your answer does not contradict the main argument of the paragraph also. So you have to stick to the whole main idea of the passage and the paragraph as well. Okay, when you select the option. So again, these types of question they take a lot of time. So that's where you have to save time when you read the passage, so you can spend extra time on these kind of questions. Okay. Okay, read the paragraph, then we will look at the question. Shall I scroll down to the questions?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Now here you might need to refer to the passage again. Ask me to scroll up, or if you have the book, you can open the book at your side also.
It's B.
B.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, the correct answer is A. Only choice A makes the same point as the highlighted sentence and includes all the essential meaning. Okay. Now, when you do your own studies tomorrow, I would say go through this question again. Okay, and try solving it with a fresh perspective. Because I know these are confusing questions. Everybody faces issue in this type of question. Okay, that's where you would need to practice a little bit. Yeah, but again, when you look at the options also, you should look back at the passage and try to make sure that everything that is mentioned over there is mentioned in the sentence, the highlighted sentence, and the passage also. Nowhere it is contradicting the information, nowhere it is misrepresenting the information, or nowhere it leaves out the most important things for the sentence again, for the highlighted sentence. Okay, all those things you will need to make sure, then only you will be able to correct select the correct option over here. Okay, so that's fine. Next, we have inference question. Now, inference question, again, you have to find out something that is mentioned in the passage explicitly, not explicitly, implicitly. The way I said, you have to find out something that is mentioned in the paragraph or the passage, but the way we find information for a factual information question directly, here we might not find it directly. It will be mentioned implicitly. It will be paraphrased. It will be, words will be changed. That is how we have to find it out, and that is how it gets difficult sometimes. Okay, because we can't find the option easily, that's why it becomes little difficult. Okay, now here the questions which would be asked would look something like: paragraph 1 suggests which of the following about so and so. The author of the passage implies that which of the following can be inferred from paragraph 1 about the given topic. Okay, now here we have to make sure what does the author infer, suggest, or imply in those sentences. Okay, again, it wouldn't be said directly, it would be said indirectly. You will have at least one this type of question, so again, you should be thorough with it. Sometimes you could get two also. That's why we have to be thorough with it. Make sure your answer does not contradict the main idea again over here. Do not choose an answer just because it seems important or true. The correct answer must be inferable from the language in the passage. Okay, and you should be able to defend your choice by pointing out explicitly where that information is presented in the paragraph again. Okay, that's how it gets easier, I would say. Now try doing this passage.
I think it's D.
D. They
Yes.
contain sulfuric acid. Okay. Now
Yes.
you'll have to tell me where it is mentioned. You can find the sulfuric acid over here, but again, it is
Yeah.
mentioned directly, right? A process was developed to refine tallow fat from animals with alkali and sulfuric acid. Now, what the question means? Question is asking you basically, which of the following can be inferred from paragraph 1 about candles before the 19th century? Okay, before the 19th century. That is what we have to understand. So, the answer lies over here. The 19th century brought with it a burst of new discoveries and inventions that revolutionized the candle industry and made lighting available to all. Now, if you see, what do they mean about candles before 19th century, that they were not available to everyone before that? That's what your answer will be over here. Understood?
Yeah.
Hmm. So choice D can be eliminated because sulfuric acid was first used to make stearin in the 19th century, not before the 19th century. That's why it is incorrect. Understood?
Yes. I get.
Okay, great. Now let's do one more and then we will stop for today.
Is it A?
A. Okay. it is correct. Just checking where it is mentioned. Okay. Choice A. That's correct. So, Mary Anning was brave and not easily discouraged. Choice A is based on the final three sentences of the paragraph, which describe the conditions under which she had to search for fossils. Okay, do read
I
through
can't
this.
hear you, by the way.
Sorry, my bad. I'm really sorry. Okay, so choice A is correct. Okay, it is based on the final three sentences of the paragraph, which describe the conditions under which she had to search for the fossils. So I would say just read through this explanation once when you sit to study tomorrow. Just see why all the other options were incorrect. So you know when you are attempting these kind of questions why other options could be incorrect, and the one you have selected, of course, that's correct. Okay, the option A. That's good. You understood how to find information for this question. Okay, that's great, I would say. That's an improvement. Now, your task is tomorrow when you sit to study, before Monday's class, we'll meet on Monday next. So, before Monday's class, you will go through chapter 1 of this book. Okay, you already have the soft copy of this book, right? So, you'll go through chapter 1, you will go through chapter 2, which is reading section. Okay, these are the two things that you will do. Along with that, when you go through chapter 2, try doing this reading passage 1. It is on page number, I will tell you. Reading practice set 1. It is on page number 72 of the PDF. Okay, so you will
Okay,
do this passage. You will mark the correct options according to you, and we will discuss it on Monday. Okay, we will discuss the
okay,
correct options and how many of them you got correct. We will do
okay,
that. Okay, great. We will stop over here and we will meet on Monday at the same time.
okay.
Do study well. I hope you enjoyed the class.
Yes, of course.
Great, great. Okay, study well then, and we will after this on Monday, of course, after we are done with remaining question types, we will start with listening question types. Okay, we will go through
Hmm.
that.
Okay, thanks a lot.
No problem. See you. Have a great day ahead.
See you. Have a weekend.
Happy weekend.